So welcome to part two on the game asset creation. It's kind of workflow or pipeline or process, whatever you want to call it. Tutorial series. So we're going to prepare this now for dynamesh. And so the first thing I want to do is these rivets here. I don't want them to be baked down to the dynamesh, so I'm going to split them off into a separate subtool. So quick way to do that, because they're all different polygroups, just auto groups, and then control shift click once, twice, sorry, click once and then just split hidden, and they're broken into their own subtool now. So we're going to want this, and another thing we want to do now is this is kind of just preparing for our dynamesh. So these doors and things, I'm going to actually I was going to leave them all as separate kind of meshes, but I'm going to just sink them in slightly and bake them into the dynamesh. So if I turn on dynamic subdivision, let me see what are those corners like. Yeah, as I said earlier on, it's better to leave them sort of rounded over. So I'm just going to sink them slightly down. Turn on this and let me see. Yeah, I'll just mask these off first and smooth them down a touch, and control click to invert the mask and move these in. We can see what they look like down when we dynamesh, but this is just to get an idea. And then we'll turn on dynamic subdivision, and I want to go down here, and you might want to save your file first. Before you do this, I'm going to bake the dynamic subdivision down into the mesh, so we won't have levels anymore, and this smoothed detail will be, and it'll also convert it to true polys. See here, this is the low cage count, so it'll actually convert it to whatever the high cage count is. So you want to just, and then once you have it saved, then you can just come down here and just say hit apply. You can see now it's actually 1.1 million, but it's not going to matter, because we're going to be all we wanted from that was nice smooth mesh. All we wanted was a nice smooth mesh so for when we dynamesh. So that's that done. And we'll move on to this here. So let's say we're happy with that. We like our curves, corners, everything we're happy with. We're going to bake that down as well. That wasn't as bad. That Q grid tends to I was up to a fair few levels of Q grid, so it's it gives quite high polygon count, so it's just something to bear in mind. And now the tank itself, we're going to have to crease that first, so we'll set our crease tolerance to something high again, and set our levels to 3, and just crease and see what that gave us. And let's bring our levels up, of course, come up to 5, and wanted to make sure the corner was creased there. Yeah, it's not too bad. All I'm going to do is just add an edge loop or two in here. So just here and here, just so it's not trying to average out too much. It's reaching too far there. You can see when it gets subdivided. if you get that weird crazy error, you can just come down to UV map, delete UVs. If you're trying to use dynamic subdivision, you get that crazy error. You can see there it tightened that up fairly significantly. So I'm thinking I might just put that back to 2 and bring our subdivide again. Didn't seem to change. Turn it off and turn it on, just to update that there, just to curve it out a bit more. Now we're going to be roughing up most of these edges anyway, so at the moment I'm not crazy about that because the edges are kind of dragging in. So what I might do there is, let's see if I can just slide these, slide edge loop partial, and just slide that out a bit. I think I'd prefer that for yeah, for normal map purposes, so I can just do that. It seems to be, oh yeah, sorry, I have just going to turn off symmetry. Oh. Turn it back on. Sorry, that already was moved because symmetry was on, so I'll just do the same here. Move that out. I don't know why this is happening. It's just, I'll fix that in a second. I don't even need to fix it because we're going to be roughing the whole thing up with we're going to be roughing it all up when we dynamesh it, so not to worry. I don't know why that happens. It's strange. It should have cut off there. It's just weird, weird bug. And maybe we might move this down. It seems to be just randomly doing whatever the hell it likes. But yeah, as I say, the beauty of this kind of thing is this is an old damaged kind of a thing, so no harm having a bit of good bit of imperfection kind of in the surface. Drag that one down and drag that one up, and we'll just check it out there now, and that's looking pretty good. Okay, now the next thing to do is we're just going to merge these together, so I'm just going to save it again, and what I'm also going to do here is down to subtool, and I want to, yeah, I want to take the tank and duplicate it. So we'll take the tank, duplicate it, and we'll rename that one to we'll just call it oil tank. We're going to use that then to get us started with the, when we have to retopologize, because there's going to be a bit of around here we're going to have to do a bit of rejigging with the topology for the low poly. So if we keep these duplicates, these ones are going to be baked with the into dynamesh, so we're going to need to keep these. So we'll just call it oil tank retopo, and just shift and click on this arrow here just to send it to the bottom. And the same with this, we'll duplicate this, we'll rename that, and we'll just call it elect box retopo, and we shoot that back down to the bottom as well. And yeah, now we just want to bring that up. Sorry, we want to bring that up, and we're going to merge them now in a minute and dynamesh them together. And also, I think I'll just, yeah, I'll put that to the bottom as well. Get that out of the way, and then we're going to merge 3 of these down together. and then we'll dynamesh. So I might just hide that pipe as well. Hide the pipe and maybe hide these. Yeah, sure, we'll just hide all them and keep these two visible. Turn all these off. And let me see. So we're going to want to geometry and dynamic, and we'll just apply that. So that's not too bad, it's not really high at all. And then we will merge these together. So just before you dynamesh, you know, make sure you're happy with smoothness and all the rest of it. And we can merge them together. So, oh sorry, you wanted to make that one visible as well. And make sure that yeah, have them, they're baked down. So go to merge, merge down. Okay. And merge down again. Okay, so they're all one. And now we can see the total is 2.5 million. So I'm going to do the same here, and I'm using Dynamesh Master here rather than using the Dynamesh and the geometry rollout there. Just I find it handy for certain things if you're not going to keep on Dynameshing over and over and over again, and you also know, instead of setting this weird slider down here to, that's dependent on the size of the subtool and everything, you can just type in the amount of faces, your target count, and then that's it. So in this case we'll put it up to 2.5, project on, blur down to 0, and Dynamesh. It's just going to take a couple of seconds. Right, that's Dynamesh now. So there's a new Dynamesh topology, and we can start sculpting. So the first thing I'm going to do here, I like to you know, for this a large kind of this metal kind of a surface here, what I find works really well, and it also works for stone as well, as I've showed in another video, is the I'm just going to turn off Symmetry, is the H polish brush. If you set it, it's fairly large, and you can just kind of, I just want to change the material here, you can kind of just scribble, hang on, kind of scribble, I'll just lower the size a bit over this metal kind of, this part here, and you can see what it's doing to the surface, sort of dinging it up. Just be careful not to go too high up here. Kind of dings it up and gives it a nice kind of an effect. So basically just you know, just scribbling. Just to get that when we bake all our maps and everything, you know, it'll show up in the reflection. When the normal map, the height information from the normal map and the reflection map together, especially in the PBR, it'll show up nicely. So I'll just go through here, and this sort of stuff, this is more like the technical, no, well, not technical, but the, you know, this is just the part where we can sort of, you know, up to your artistic discretion, whatever you want to do yourself here. This kind of this series of videos is more about the technical side, I suppose, as regards the workflow, the pipeline, how you get from A to B. So the sculpting part of it, sort of just kind of do whatever the hell you like. So you can see, yeah, the H polish. I definitely like it for this kind of effect. Just don't overdo it, obviously. And then good old trusty trim dynamic on all the around all these edges, just to kind of take away that, break them up. And also bearing in mind to you know, always keeping in mind your normal bake, how it's going to affect your normal bake. So all I'm doing here is, it's all sort of simple, straightforward stuff. It's a very common technique. Okay, everybody uses it, and with good reason, because it gives instant sort of adds instant kind of realism to what you're doing. So I'm not going to bore the shite out of you by going around every single edge and recording it all, because all I'm doing is exactly what I'm doing here. Trim dynamic, and I'm going to just I'm going to hit all the edges. I'm going to ding up all these edges around where this metal banding is, and I'm going to hit some of these edges as well. I'm going to skip bits and pieces here and there. I'm not going to I'm going to redo this again. Like I wouldn't do the whole lot like that, because it looks a bit silly when it's all done. You know, maybe if it was stone or something, because it's metal, you're still going to have, you know, I might do a bit here, skip a bit, vary the size of the brush, and so on. You know, leave bits and skip bits. So I'll pause the video and I'll go back then when that's done. Right, I went around and just dinged it up with the all I used was H polish and trim dynamic, and I was just mindful of, you know, the dynamesh left some artifacts behind around these, so I just went over that with the alternate smooth. So hold shift, start to smooth, let go shift, and it'll smooth out poles, which you get a lot of on the likes of dynamesh topology. So just that would show up in the normal map as kind of artifacts or noise, so I just kind of smoothed some of those areas out. So there's a brush that I downloaded it there. I can't even remember where I got it. I think I might have came across it on Polycount or something, but it's basically a weld brush. That's some guy made it, and it's brilliant. So I'm going to use that now. But I'm sorry, I can't even remember exactly where I got it. It's so long ago. But I'm just going to choose it here. Here's the brush here. Anyway, welding brush. There's no information with it. You know, sometimes people create brushes, they put their name on it, but I can't even remember. So I'm just going to use it here. I'll show you. You know, for instance, this section here would be steel plate. It'd be welded on basically. So here's how it works. You know, and this environment piece, or this asset, is it's almost like it's not really, you wouldn't be able to use it in a sort of a really realistic kind of game around. It's kind of semi-stylized or whatever. Well, because it's based as well on like a 40k piece of scenery. So depending on where you use this brush, you could start it on one side or the other, and the weld kind of show up there, but it looks a bit silly. So down the center is probably the best. You can also you know, I could use the standard brush. Sorry, not the standard brush. You could just use the clay brush and build it up first. Even the clay brush, you know, on its own, because the kind of rougher the better for a piece like this. Clay brush is going to build up in the crevice there, and then you could go over it then with the welding brush. You you've kind of given yourself that base with the clay brush, so you're not just going in tight against the corner. And back to the welding brush, and you know, that's, as I was saying, the fact that it's a real messy sort of a finish looks good, you know, because it's a battered up old kind of piece. I will try clay build up on this one. All I'm doing, I'm just looking to fill in that. I'm just looking to fill in this sharp corner. Another thing you could do is you could smooth it out. Rather than using the clay brush, you can just smooth it, and it's not going to be as sharp then. And that probably works a little better there, even, you know. But I'm happy with this. I like kind of how messy that looks. Or am I? Yeah, well, I'll redo that again. There's no point in me doing it again. You can sit here watching it. I'll redo that again myself, and I'll pause it and come back. But you get the idea. So you can build up with you can do it straight onto it, or you can build up with the clay brush first and then do it, or else you can just smooth it and do it. So I'm going to redo it. Right, I've just redone it there by just smoothing and then just going over it, and I turned on Symmetry, come up to just at the corner, and then just turned it off to do the center. And we could probably, yeah, we could use it up here as well. So I'll just have a quick look, see what it's like first without smoothing. Yeah, looks pretty good. So probably best as well to use Symmetry here and just start away and fill that in then after. Get Symmetry turned off. You know, it's a pity now I can't remember the name of the lad that made the brush, but I'd like to give him credit because it's a brilliant brush. And finish that side off. So there's our welds. Let me see. Another thing you could do is we could just grab the dam standard, and if we wanted to, we could, you know, we could cut in here where these might be together. These two might have been brought together and kind of maybe badly welded, or just sort of damaged. The messier the better. Well, up to a point. It's all just for you know, just for those extra details. Like a lot of the finer details, these are sort of major kind of forms on the model, but some of the, you know, the finer details like scratches and everything can, you nearly as well to do them in Paint, or you can do them in your texture stage. It's a bit too messy there, so I'm just going to start and I'll shift. Drop that intensity down. Let me see. I'll hold shift. Sorry, I swapped over to the mouse there for a second. You know, even there, kind of a bit too straight. You can just cut them in using shift to snap to. If your canvas is straight and you hold shift and use any brush, so we start drawing and then hold shift, it'll always stay a straight line no matter where I move the tablet. We can always just grab the move brush and the move brush and just, you know, kind of move them slightly just to break up that form a bit, and back to that welding brush and drop the size. Where else? You know, we could always you know, we could say that these plates were welded on as well, and you could go around them with a smaller welding brush. So I'll drop the welding brush right down. I'm kind of losing the detail, but you'd need higher resolution for that. So I'll leave that, I won't do that. Now the other thing we can do is, that's more or less the kind of the details I wanted to add. We could add some I'll just see if we have the resolution for it. You know, you could start going in with your alphas. What I might do actually is these brushes here, these XMD brushes, where are they? XMD, usually there. There they are there. Oops. So this bloke here, let's see, what's he got here? Terra chip crack. He's millions of these. I've used them in the last the 40k diorama making of, but he's so many of these XMD brushes. No, he doesn't have his name there either. Push credit. No, he doesn't have anything there. But if you just type in XMD, ZBrush brushes or whatever, you'll come across them there. He's some paid ones now as well, some sets and a lot of free ones. So these are the kind of effects. You know, realistically, I suppose there wouldn't be big cracks in a tank full of highly flammable liquid. But you could always just have them as sort of minor, drop to the intensity, and just have them as minor kind of cracks. And because like these are all the same, you don't want them to look like they keep repeating everywhere. You know, you can kind of hide them and, you know, join some together, cross them over like you do with any alpha brush, and combine different ones. So drop them in places where they're not going to be, it's not going to be noticeable that you're using the same one over and over again. So you can just play around with different brushes, different alphas, and add as much or as little detail as you want, but you know, you're better off not adding too much detail. Sort of break it up so you'd have like a few sort of scuffs, cracks and bangs, and then you know, contrasted areas of noisy small kind of detail, larger detail, and then no kind of detail. So I'll go around and I'm going to go around and do a bit more of that off camera, and then I'll come back to them when it's finished. I'm not going to do too much. We can do some of that, as I said, in the texturing phase in Painter. So another thing you can do is can do these either on a layer or with a morph target, or both. So for instance, I'll add a new layer, and then we could start dragging on this detail, you know, and then you can just turn the layer down just so it's not as powerful. Or if I get rid of that layer and store a morph target, recently moved it around on my UI, so where did I put it? This is defeating the purpose of having a UI like this. You can't bloody well find where the things are. Um, oh, there it is. There, yeah. So we could store a morph target, then add a layer, and we could just start dragging detail on, and then we could select our morph brush, and we can just paint that detail out, and then we still have our layer. You know, you can also reverse the layer, which would look ridiculous in this case, but yeah, so that's the two techniques. You can use morph targets, layers, or a combination of the both. So I'm just going to add in some detail here and there, and I'll be back then. Right, so I went around and just using that technique of the morph target and layers combination, just added some. I didn't go crazy, and then I took a lot of it back with the morph brush because it was getting sort of pixelated, because you know we're still on a dynamesh with only 2.4, so you know, depending on if you want a higher quality sort of a bake, you can go up higher again before you start adding these on. I'm not going to, but you know, you can just, I'm going to take some of it back here with the morph brush. So, you know, if you go in close, you can see how pixelated it is, but it is kind of just a game asset as well, so it doesn't have to be amazingly high detail up close or anything. So yeah, artistic discretion there again, and depending on the sort of quality, as I say, you can go up again another level. That'll nearly bring us to 10 million, so that's another thing to bear in mind. So, sort of was saying earlier on, a lot of these details you're nearly better off doing them in your texturing phase. You know, you could just get a big alpha card and use it as a stencil, and just paint all this stuff into your bump channel in Painter, and you know, you'll be relying on sort of the resolution of your map rather than the resolution of the mesh here. But just to show you, it's an extra kind of an option, but it's not essential to do all this detailing. But you could, so we're nearly there with this part here. Another thing I might do here is go to the standard brush and I might just add in, hold down Alt, and just add that in there, and then BI, and we can put some screws in. So this is the IMM brush that I was talking about earlier on, that in the first part. I think it's a Joseph Drust brush, but I think it ships with ZBrush. I'm not 100%. So this type of detail here is perfect for a normal map because it's curved, so it's going to bake nicely onto the map, whereas something like this wouldn't show up at all. You're more looking for, you know, this would be good as well, because you can see that detail from a top-down orthographic kind of a view like we're looking at now. This one's good as well, this one. So I'm going to use these Phillips head screws, and that should be a perfect size there, and hold control. Strange that it's smooth in the preview. Yeah, I can just I can add a level of subdivision to them. So I'll just drop the size of the brush, and what size is that? Yeah, that's a pretty good size. So I just want to see actually. Yeah, it's all creased, so that will subdivide nicely. You can subdivide that before. We can separate them the screws into their own mesh. I'm just going to turn on Symmetry and pop them out again using Control, and same again there. Just turn them around a bit, and I'm going to put some here. I'll just turn off Symmetry. You know, kind of have them up and down a bit, not perfect. So yeah, so that's the screws. The last thing I want to add now is this kind of mesh thing in here. So let me see. You can do that pretty easily here by using a curve line tube, the curve line tube brush. So that's going to give us a nice straight line. So I'll just come down at an angle, and that looks like a pretty good thickness. Let me see. Yeah, that's a pretty good thickness. So just delete that curve. Let me see. I might just shit. I meant to break that away. I have to subdividing the whole thing. A mistake. I meant to just split that away. I'll just pause that while it's doing that. Sorry, yeah, I meant to. I don't know what happened. I don't know what actually subdivided there. Mightn't even really need to. I suppose we will. Yeah, I'm just going to let me see. Yeah, I'll just split that away and select it. Make sure, yeah, and I can just subdivide that once and Control Shift. Sometimes that happens. The reason being because I need to delete the level. Wasn't letting me do it because I had a subdivision level on. So Control Shift, and I'll just drag that down and make another couple of copies. I'll just clear that mask and just we can move it up here now and get an idea of how it's going to work. Now what I'm going to do is duplicate that. Let me see, turn on the floor. And just mirror that in, I think it's Z. Yeah, mirror that in Z. And now what I want to do is merge this down. Okay. And if I solo this out, you can see now that we have our kind of mesh pattern here, but obviously it's not the way, well, this would work if these are welded, but I want them to be interwoven, kind of interlocked in and out. So I'll just go to auto groups, and then we can just set mask by polygroups up to 100 and move, and we can just start. I'll just give it a bigger draw size, and so let's say that one's over the top, under, over, under, maybe make it a bit smaller. Yeah, so this is just an extra bit of detail kind of for the normal map. So bring these out. Same with this, you know, this is another thing that doesn't, you know, I can add some wear and tear and dents and things and stuff like that, just to take away from the kind of anything to take away from the CG look, as they call it. Now I'll just rotate it. Oops. Clear the mask. Sorry, I have masked my polygroups on. Move it down. And just kind of set it below the surface. I'm just going to turn on transparent. Not that we can really see, but a bit more in. Too much. What I'll actually do is I'll just drag it out then, and we can turn around this way and still be locked onto the axis. And that looks like it'll do us. And we want to go this way, and then we can always just turn back, turn it back to move, and turn our mask polygroups up again, or even just, doesn't have to, we could just turn it off and move the whole thing together. Could even just let me see. Maybe move it. Let me see. I just want to say I might move it up a bit. Move. Yeah, that's pretty good there. So, you know, and pretty quick and easy to make as well. Project I did a while ago, I did it in 3D Max, but this was a project, a personal project, a modelling project that went on for a long time, on and off. But I built a couple of these kind of things for over a car windscreen, and they were a lot bigger than this, but did them with splines and very pushing and pulling and everything, and it took a while to do, but so simple to do here in ZBrush. So simple. So I just want to push some of this back in here. So I'm just going to use my move brush, clear the mask, and let me see. Yeah, I just want this bit here. If I just hold Alt when I'm moving, it'll move along the normal. And I can just push that back, just so they're not penetrating. And yeah, that is pretty much the end of the high poly. No, it's not. No, it's not. Sorry, I still have to do this zip pipe. So the pipe, yeah, this will be our low poly here. So I will just, I'm gonna divide it a couple of times. Shit, I'm after doing that same thing. Just subdividing it there to 40 million, but I'll have to change the sub tool over. And one more. Right, so I'll click on the pipe and turn on the floor. Let's see here that yeah, it's okay. Just a little bit off. It's a little bit off the floor there, but I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, so the pipe selected. Now I can subdivide that up a couple of times. Maybe one more, and all I'm going to do with the pipe maybe is I'm not going to do any scratches or anything like that. I'm just going to give it a run of H polish and a bit of trim dynamic, same as I did for the just to break up that perfect smooth kind of surface. Now the only thing is you can see what's happening there because of the geometry. I didn't dynamesh this, and the topology underneath isn't conducive to sculpting, but it doesn't really matter because it still gives us the effect that we're looking for. So what I'm going to do here, actually, instead of sculpting those lines in, is all we have to do is I'm just going to drop all those levels of subdiv off, and what we can do here is go back to our Zmodeler brush and just going to insert, sorry, it still has those subdivisions, so delete higher. I'm just going to, no, actually, I won't do that. I'm going to duplicate it, and we'll call this one pipe topo. Just do the same, yeah. Doesn't really matter. Be able to do more with it if I get dynamesh it. Pipe topo. And now we will go back to this one and jump up to the levels and hide the other one and get it up to looking smooth. That's not good. What happened there? I think I'm after deleting a, yeah, sorry, I think I don't know what happened there. I think I deleted an edge loop or something, so I'll just go back with this and see what happened there. Very strange. I'll just keep going. I'll go back. I'll go right back. Let me just stack this. And down a level. Oops a day. Shit, I haven't saved it in a while. I'm just going to pause it here and I'll come back. Well, there's a quick reminder to always save your files, because I had to redo some of this stuff that I hadn't saved in ages, and the quick save only went back so far. So what I've done is always I've just redone the bits you've already seen, and we're back on this pipe here. So the pipe as it was, duplicated it, renamed that one pipe topo. So we'll leave that with these ones for the low poly, and what we'll do then is we'll just subdivide this one. So I just want to make sure now when we subdivide, I want to add in an edge loop here, so this isn't stretching like we had the last time. So I'll just add in a loop. Sorry, I'm going to just delete lower and add a loop in here and hide the retopo. And now we subdivide, bring it up a couple of times, 500,000, and that should be good for dynameshing. You know, so you want to just dynamesh to get rid of the faceting, or sorry, subdivide up enough times to get rid of the faceting, then dynamesh it. So we're at 540, so we'll say 0.6, blur to 0, project, and dynamesh. And if ever you see your screen flashing white like that and it looks like it's doing nothing, just leave it a couple of minutes till it finishes its calculations. Sometimes, you know, you get impatient and start dragging the mouse and it'll crash. So we'll continue on, and I'm going to just solo that and do the same as what we were doing. So we'll grab the H polish and start by just giving it a pass of just giving it a pass of the H polish to ding it up, same as we did for the main tank. And as well as, you know, when you're creating normal maps, detail that goes in rather than comes out is generally you know, to within reason, because it's going to work better, because the further you come out, the further your projection cage is going to have to search, and if you go out too far, it's going to just cause problems with your normal map baking. So the thing about this is, well, this is pushing in, so it's going to bake out nice. Now I'll just go around with trim dynamic. I'm just going to go around these corners, so I'll just pause that. There's no point in it. Right, so I've just went around there, dinged it up a bit, and see here, when you do subdivide, if your corners are quite sharp, you can just go right around and go over them with the smooth brush. So that's all I've done here: smooth brush, trim dynamic, and then I just use the weld brush again, and that's pretty much it. And now I'm just going to use damn standard, or actually I might use this just go up, and there's brushes here as well. Mech. Sorry, where's the brushes? Mech. Yeah, here's here, Mech. And I think it's cup B. Maybe this one here. Just check that. Yeah, so Mech, that's Michelangelo Hernandez, or Michelangelo Hernandez, quite well known Z-brusher. So that's some of his brushes there. You can download them. I think of just search Malachus the Black or M-A-H, and you'll find them. So I'm just going to cut in some seams, kind of pipe seams here. Actually, let me check this first. I'm just going to hold shift to keep it straight. See if you're getting that weird the way that the alpha's overlapping there. You can just come up to stroke and just increase the roll distance. That'll get rid of that for you. So I'll try that again. I'm just going to snap the viewport each time, and then I'm just holding shift, and that's going to keep it nice and straight. And maybe just put one up here as well, and snap the viewport. And just where you might have the joins in the pipe, and I'll probably just come in then, and yeah, I'm just going to use the weld brush then again around those, just to give it an extra bit of detail. It looks a bit sort of plain like that. And I know it doesn't really make sense because you have a seam and then you have the weld on top, but I think it actually looks pretty good. So I'm going to go with that. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, it looks pretty decent. So I'll put the weld on this side. And that will be that. Right, so that's pretty much the detailing, the pipe done. just smooth out this because it's annoying me. Right, so last thing now is to choose some screws or bolts. So I like this this one here, IMM model kit. There's plenty to choose from, so I will pick, let me see, some sort of bolt, if there's any there. Maybe something like this might work well. Yeah, I'll try this one here, and we'll just I'm gonna have to oh sorry, yeah, what I did was I just added an extra level onto this dynamesh for the welds, just to give it a bit more detail. So just bake that before we delete the lower there, before we add in our bolts. Insert mesh, or you could freeze subdivisions, but yeah, so I like to look at that one. And if your mesh is disappearing like that when you're using inserts, it's just because you're on solo. You just turn off solo mode. So I might just put maybe 4 around this. And I'll drop the size, and let's have a look first. I'll drop the size and maybe put more, maybe put 6 or something around this. That's a bit too small. 14. Yeah, that works pretty well. 5. Clear the mask, and yeah, so that's it now. I'm going to leave it at that, and in the next lesson now we'll do the UVs. So that's pretty much our high poly. So you can do it, you know, add as much or as little detail as you like. And we'll move on to UVing. Alright, this lesson's gone on a bit, so cheers for watching again, and thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright then, cheers, thanks, good luck.